Hello and welcome to another episode of Game Theory, the #1 DraftKings prep show in all of the land. I'm your host, Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and in this very episode, we're going to be breaking down all 12 fights coming up on UFC Vegas 49 from a DraftKings perspective, and this card is going to be headlined by Islam Makhachev and Bobby Green, stepping in for the injured Beneil Dariush. So, guys, before we get started, be sure to check out teamriseorfall.com. Any kind of DraftKings or FanDuel, any kind of daily fantasy sports that you play, we have experts there that will guide you into those takedowns. So be sure to check it out. Use code MONK, save yourself $10. And without further ado, let's get right into it. First fight of the night, as I ditch my keyboard here. Two Dana White Contender Series fighters, Victor Altamirano going against Carlos Hernandez. This is going to be a flyweight fight. Closest line fight on DraftKings according to the salaries. $8,000 for Victor, $8,200 for Hernandez. I don't have many or much stats for these guys. I did calculate their Dana White Contender Series fights. Obviously, those do not count as DraftKings fights, but if they did, hypothetically, here's how each guy would have scored. So Victor would have scored very well, 5.29 raw DraftKings points per minute, one heck of a pace, but he gave up almost 5 points a minute on the defense. He did score 109 in his decision win, a very, very good number. Let's see, Hernandez on the other side scores significantly less, just under 3 points a minute, gave up 3.59 points a minute, and only scored 74 in his decision victory. Let's see, the 8,000, if I could speak properly. Sorry, it's a bit late here. I got some good news early in the morning. It's about 3:30 Central Time right now in the morning. I got some good news. I was just about to fall asleep, so now I'm wide awake, and I figured I'd get a jump on recording, especially up here where I am. We just got a huge snowstorm starting, so I already canceled school. I am tucked in for the day. So anyways, $8,000 for Victor. That salary wins 53.6% of the time. Meanwhile, the $8,200 salary only winning 42.5% of the time. So keep that in mind. My guy Lou at Lou Bet on Twitter did give me the idea, or not the idea, but he did bring up a good point about this salary. How often do these maybe flip as far as Vegas odds go as the week progresses? So right as of now, the $8,000 salary is the better salary. Yeah, not much here, just that one victory. Victor scored very well striking, landed at several takedown points, 1.33 per minute, but he did give up a ton of takedown points as well. Also control time. Carlos Hernandez did not go for any takedowns, or at least he didn't land any in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Did get some control time points, but gave up a ton of takedown points as well. The same number as Altamirano, actually. And then a few graphs. Like I said, we'll kind of breeze through this first one. Victor landing 6.67 strikes per minute. Carlos Hernandez landing 5.13. Both with decent takedown defense, 68.75. Victor landing 4 takedowns a minute, or per 15 minutes, though, compared to 0 from Carlos Hernandez. Look at this, though. Strength of schedule, you'd expect to see some poor strength of schedules from DWCS guys, as we do with Carlos Hernandez here. 70 to 75 is where you want to be. That's about average. Anything better is good. Anything worse is trash. And Carlos Hernandez coming in 54% win percentage. That is garbage strength of schedule. But on the other side, Victor Altamirano coming in with a better strength of schedule than probably half of the UFC guys on this card. 76% win percentage, 72 strength of schedule, 90 strength of defeat, so looking pretty good there. He did beat Carlos Candelario in that DWCS fight by split decision, scoring 109 points, so fantastic. 4 takedowns landed, 5 takedowns landed against some very high scores in that fight. My goodness. Carlos Hernandez, same deal. Very high scores. I mean, his opponent scored 53, almost 54 points in a split decision loss. So, yeah, there we have it. A couple of graphs that are meaningless with one fight. Here are my projections. Whatever you think is going to happen, here's how I think it will score. Obviously, a bit higher projections from Victor just because of that pace is so high. Some very strange-looking graphs here, but I guess you got to give the advantage to Victor Altamirano. And then, yeah, I believe Computer Monk is picking this to finish, or to not finish inside the distance, rather, to go the distance, I should say. But I will be showing my picks at the very end of this video, so stick around. As I said, Computer Monk does pick all of my, all of my predictions, and whether it will go to decision or not. So I will show those at the end. Second fight of the night. We've got Ramiz Brahimaj going up against Michael Gillmore. And no, that is not a spelling error. That is how he spells his name. Let's see. This one is going to be at welterweight, you guys. So Ramiz, 9 wins. All 9 wins professionally coming by submission here. Check this out. Gillmore, four pro losses. 3 of them have been by submission. I mean, if there was ever a time to play Ramiz Brahimaj, it's now. Let's see, $9,300. So he is expensive. He did make the optimal lineup once since January of 2021. He is significantly higher than his average salary of $8,000, coming in $1,300 over that. He does not have a good pace to him. 1.78 points per minute. That is terrible. The lowest rank you will see on this card in these rank numbers here is 14 this week. We have 10 unranked fighters. As far as my rankings go, you have to have 3 or more fights to get a ranking. So we do have 10 fighters under 3 or less fights. And so 14 will be the lowest number. He's at 13 here, giving up the 13th most points per minute. Scores very well when he wins. As we said, gets some early submission victories. So he is finishing all of his wins. And he does give up a ton of points when he loses, 93.94. Let's see, actually a pretty poor average value of only 5.92. And in fact, the only ranks you will see higher than 14 is the ceiling and floor. Every fighter has a ceiling and floor on my card, whether you're ranked or not. Michael Gillmore, $6,900, coming in $100 less than he did on his previous UFC fight, scoring even less per minute than Brahimaj at barely over a point, 1.05 per minute, giving up 4.63. That is insane. He did lose his one UFC fight. I believe it was a tough finale, something like that, if my mind serves correct. 106 points is what he gave up. I mean, this is not looking good. Second fight does make winner of the second fight makes the optimal lineup 52% of the time. The $9,300 salary wins at a 65, almost 66% rate. I like Brahimaj here for cash as well. I really think he's going to get the sub on Gillmore. I don't think, unless Gillmore's come super far since his last fight, as far as grappling goes, I think Brahimaj is going to get a nice win here after the Court McGee loss. Let's see, as you know, only 1 win, so he did put up over 100 points, as that chart says. He does get outstruck pretty well, does get outscored, taken down, and grappled, however, but he does want to, he doesn't mind being on the ground. So Gillmore, no takedown points in his first UFC fight, a ton of takedown points against. So let's see here in just a second. In fact, we'll just go to it. Brahimaj lands 1.52 takedowns per 15 minutes. I have a feeling that's going to go up after this one. Let's see. Controls only 20% of the grappling time. That is not a lot for Brahimaj, but Gillmore controlling only less than 1% of the grappling time. That is ridiculously low. Brahimaj has a not great strength of schedule. 2-3 in his last 5 professionally. 65-66 here for strength of schedule. Gillmore's is even worse. Losing to Andre Petrosyan in his UFC debut. 3rd round knockout. Brahimaj losing to Griffin and McGee, as I mentioned, and his win over Sasha Palatnikov, 1st round submission. I'm kind of leaning early submission on this one as well, at least submission. Brahimaj with a decent graph here. Actually, never mind. His opponents are way above him as far as pace, but him and his opponent both are trending up. Gillmore only with 1 fight. Here are my projections. A decent 1st round and 2nd round score for Brahimaj if he does find that finish, which as I said, I am expecting. And then the DraftKings visual recap and aggregate career finishing percentages. Only 1 graph here, so that's kind of meaningless because Gillmore only has 1 fight, and it was not a win, so he has basically no graph. And then, yeah, these guys finish very well in their wins, 80%, 100% in the UFC. 80% professionally, I should say, and then even in their losses, they're getting finished. So I do expect this one to finish. Next fight, we will keep it moving. Alejandro Perez going against Jonathan Martinez. This one's going to be a bantamweight. Perez, $7,400, coming in at $700 cheaper than his average salary. But again, another guy that doesn't even score 2 points per minute. 1.98, gets outscored, only scores 76 points when he wins, and that is over 8 wins, you guys. 11th worst number on the card out of ranked fighters. Gives up almost 94 when he loses. Let's see what we got here on the Martinez side. 8,800, so he is significantly more than his average salary of almost 8,100, I should say. Scores a bit better than Perez, but still under 3 per minute. But that is a good enough number for 5th overall out of all ranked fighters. Gives up only 2.52 for a positive differential. Has a decent average value of 7.48. But again, over 5 wins, only scores 76, almost 77 points per win. Guys, that is not good enough. Gives up 90 points when he loses. Does have a much better score when he loses, 32, almost 33 points per loss, compared to Perez at just over 8 points per loss. So a much higher floor for Jonathan Martinez. Let's see, the $8,800 salary. I do not like it for DraftKings. It does not make the optimal lineup very well when it wins something like 20%, but it does win at a 72% rate. That is the 4th highest on the entire, out of all salaries. So I do like Martinez for the victory, not just because of that, but, you know, I'm the salary voodoo guy. I got to throw it in there. Come on now. Perez, when he knocks you out, scores over 100 points. When he submits, only 88. And when he wins by decision, just 49 points. Wow, that is extremely low. Martinez, a very low score when he wins by knockout TKO, only 91. 67 when he wins by decision. Neither of these guys score very well at all, but they do tend to give up points. I mean, Martinez, when he lost a decision, 108. Perez only given up 51 when he loses by decision. It's those submissions that are killer for him. 125, almost 126 points. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you can see Perez, 2 of 8 wins over 25 and only 1 over 100. Meanwhile, he's given up points at a pretty good rate. Excuse me, Jonathan Martinez, only 1 fight out of 5 he's even put up over 90. And then that one he put up over 110. Let's see, both guys getting taken down and pretty much out-controlled. Martinez does have a positive differential on that front. Both guys outstriking their opponent, but, I mean, they're not really doing much. Less than 2 points per minute. Martinez does have the good he has scored knockdowns in the past. 0.46 points per minute comes from knockdowns. That is the highest number on the card. So probably one of the top power indexes on this entire card is Jonathan Martinez. A bit more consistent as well as far as scoring. And then when Perez loses, I mean, he gives up 78 points per loss in just bonus points. I mean, oof, if you're on the finish side of this thing, Martinez might not be such a bad call. Let's see here. Not a great striking defense for Martinez and about 70% takedown defense for both guys. Martinez controlling more of the grappling time. Perez controlling less than half. Let's see here. Strength of schedule, pretty even, but I guess you have to give it to Perez. Jonathan Martinez, 65, almost 66 opponent win percentage. Not great. All of his differentials over the last 5 are, almost all of them are positive except for that control time. But every single one is negative for Perez except for the differential, which is pretty close. Better ass whip index for Martinez. Very high power index, 1.18. Has a, not, you want your chin index to be 0. That's, how bad your chin is. So the higher number, the worse it is. 0.34, that's not terrible, not great though. Perez almost double at 0.64. Both guys 3-2 in their last 5 in the UFC, with Martinez dropping fights to Grant and Ewell, and then Perez losing to Song Yadong and Cody Stamen. Couple of graphs, pace graphs here. Let's see. Perez's opponents are above him and trending up while he trends down. Definitely not the graph you want to see. Martinez on the other side, above his opponents, trending up, he is trending down while his opponents trend up ever so slightly. Coming off that Lazashvili win. Pretty good win against a guy with Wheelie in his name. coming in, making his UFC debut. So here are my projections. Not great projections for either one in decisions. But I do imagine this one might be pretty close to finishing. We'll have to check at the end here. Here's a couple of decent graphs here for the DraftKings visual recap. Tons of real estate for both guys. I mean, each guy has his positives here. Like for Perez, it's the strength of victory, the average value per win, the grappling points, striking points. For Martinez, it's more of the winning percentage, finish win percentage, and bonus points per win for sure. And then the aggregate finish rate. So actually, it's pretty close to 50-50 here as far as finishes go. We'll have to see what Computer Monk thinks about that. Neither one of these guys has made the optimal lineup since the beginning of 2021. Next fight, Frey going against Hannah Goldy at strawweight. Frey, $8,700, coming in almost $1,000 more than her average salary. Actually, about $850, I should say. Wait, is that right? No, I can't do math. $1,050 more than her average salary. Not a great average value of 5.58. Again, does not score well. Less than 2 points per minute. Only gives up 2.15 per minute. So great defensive, or not great, but that's a great defensive number is what I'm going to say. Still has a negative differential there. Only scores 68 points when she wins. That is not a good number. And that is over, let's see, 2 wins. She is 2-2 in the UFC. Gives up only 71 when she loses, though. So not terrible. Let's see about Hannah Goldy. 1-2 in the UFC. Coming in, let's see, $767 cheaper than her average salary. Scores over 2 points a minute at 2.69. Scores 97.52 in her lone DraftKings win. Still gets outscored, though, for a negative raw DraftKings points per minute differential of negative 0.4. I know I said negative twice there. I apologize. But she does have a very good score per loss. 42.34 when she loses. That is the highest on the entire card. So might be a good little backup for cash. If you can get a 42, 45 points, even 50 points in a loss, hey, I'll take that most of the time. And let's see, Hannah won by sub. That's where she got that 97. Frey only wins are from decisions, averaging 68 points. Her opponent only scored 77.9 points on her win. She lost by sub. Never scored over 90 points, not even once. Never given up over 90 points. So very low scores in Frey fights. Same with Hannah Goldy. Only scored over 100 or over 90 one time. Never given up over 90 at all. Not much for takedown points. A little bit of ground points for Goldy. Actually, they're pretty even. 0.26 takedown points per minute. 0.29 for Hannah Goldy. They both give up a few. Not too much. Goldy has been knocked down, but she does score more from striking, over 2 points per minute, giving up 2.34 points per minute. Frey also getting outscored when it comes to striking. Let's see, Frey, very low standard deviation for her scoring. That means she is very consistent, which means if she wins, she is within 3 or 4 points of 68, and when she loses, she's within 6 points of 71. Or her opponents are, I should say. Or no, she's within 6 points of 16. So yeah, not a very good score, Frey. Here are the graphs. Very low bonus points. Pretty much very low everything. Hannah Goldy, first round finish there. Never been finished. And then a few stats. These, as I say every week, these rankings should not be taken as gospel. It's just more of an overall quick look, quick glance. How are they as far as striking, takedown? Are they decent compared to the rest of the card? Blah, blah, blah. So, for instance, Frey probably has better takedown stats than Hannah Goldy. And as you can see, 0% takedown defense from Goldy and 90% from Frey. So, very good numbers there. And she also controls 64, almost 65% of the grappling time. Hannah Goldy controlling almost 69%. Both fighters are 3-2 in their last 5, and both have straight garbage strength of schedules. I don't even know who to give this one to. I guess Hannah Goldy, but they're both trash as far as strength of schedule goes. Control time differential, both positive numbers, almost 10 for Frey and just over 11 for Goldy. Let's see here. Chindex for Hannah Goldy, suspect, 0.55. Like I said, you want that to be 0. You want it to be right where Frey's is, 0.0. Any common opponents here? Doesn't look like it. Anna Goldy dropping losses to Belbita and Miranda Granger. Frey losing to Look Boonmi and Kay Hansen. Couple of DraftKings points per minute graphs. Let's see. Jinyu Frey, both women getting outscored, and both of their opponents are trending up very, very steep. They are trending up as well, but not as quickly as their opponents are. Some very low projections in this fight, as you could have probably gathered. Hannah Goldy with a much better looking visual statistical recap, with her one win being a finish win and scoring a ton of bonus points. That's where she gets all this real estate here. But the rest of the stats pretty much go to Frey, or they're close. And then the average or aggregate UFC and career finishing percentages, very low. I do expect this to go the distance. Probably Frey winning if I had to guess who Computer Monk is picking, aka CM Monk. Next fight of the night. If this one actually happens, it's been called off at least once, maybe twice. Terrence McKinney going against Faris Ziam. Let's see here. Lightweight fight. McKinney, $7,800. Did make the optimal lineup because he knocked Matt Frivola out in 7 seconds in his UFC debut. So I did also add his Dana White Contender Series fight into my database, just because, you know, a 7-second knockout in your UFC debut really throws off the stats for projections and everything. So it was basically telling me I had to play 100% Terrence McKinney, and that might be a good idea, but as of now, I'm not doing that. He did score 126 points in his win against Frivola, 3.95 per minute, but I mean, it was a 7-second knockout. He is $900 more than his average. Faris on the other side, another fighter that does not even score 2 points per minute. 1.65, 14th lowest, the lowest ranked score in this category on the entire card. 56 points per win, almost 57, and that's 2 wins. So he has had, you know, that's not just a 1 sample size. You know, it's 2, it's not that much bigger, but still 56 points. Absolutely ridiculous. And you're paying up $500 for him. 79 is his average salary. You're paying up to $8,400. Don't really like the salary voodoo for this one. Not much to look at here. Faris scoring 67 in his unanimous decision win, 46 in his split decision win. McKinney scoring, obviously, that huge number in his first fight. Faris not over 90 given up or scored in any fight, any of his 3 fights. McKinney, suspect chin, and he has power also. He got knocked down by Woodson. I think he took 4 significant strikes, and one of them knocked him down. And also with that power over Frivola, so he has a ton of points pretty much everywhere. So these have to be taken with a grain of salt. Hopefully they will even out after this fight, and he doesn't score another 7-second knockout to keep my stats all jacked up from him. So here's his 115 bonus point win right here, and his second round knockout loss. I believe it was a knockout. Might have been a sub. I guess we'll find out. It was a knockout, TKO. Few stats, nothing too spectacular. Excuse me. You know, sub 70% takedown defense for Ziam, 65% striking defense though, second best on the entire card. So does not get hit with a ton of shots. We'll see if he can take McKinney's power, if he can land anything on him. Ziam getting the strength of schedule victory here, and it's not really even close. A few points in every category. I mean, look at this power index from McKinney, 8.33. That's ridiculous. Faris with wins over Vendramini and Malarkey, losing to Don Madge. And then McKinney losing to Woodson in his Dana White Contender Series fight. I believe that was that one. And then beating Matt Frivola, as I said, 7 seconds. McKinney barely above his opponents and trending up. And Faris is well under his opponents in pace, but he is trending up. I mean, you almost have to be if you only score 1.65 points per minute. Opponents also trending way, way up. McKinney, obviously a way higher projection than Faris, only 65 in a decision. So unless he gets that first round finish of McKinney, which, you know, I guess is possible. Most of McKinney's fights don't last very long. I don't expect Ziam to score very well other than that. DraftKings visual recap, a much better chart here for McKinney, or graph I should say, but what did you expect really? Ferris with no finish wins. So a big chunk of his graph taken out. And the aggregate professional and UFC career finishing percentages, pretty high professionally, very low in the UFC, but only 5 UFC fights. Still only 1 finish in win and 2 finishes in losses, I believe. Is that right? No, 1 finish in losses. So pretty inexperienced fighters when it comes to the UFC in that one. Next fight, Josiane Nunes going against Ramona Pascual, newcomer. No Dana White Contender Series fight, no nothing. I have absolutely 0 stats for her. What is crazy is this is a women's featherweight fight, 145 pounds. Nunes did beat Bea Malecki in her lone UFC fight, UFC debut at 135. This one's at 145. She is 5'2". She has a 67-inch reach at 5'2". Are you kidding me? Southpaw fighter, 28 years old. I mean, I don't usually read off the measurables here, but this one is nuts. Ramon on the other side, 5'7", so 5 inches taller. She has a 1 inch shorter reach than the 5'2" Nunes. That is insane. So yeah, Nunes, you are paying way up for her after her knockout victory. 1,300 over her previous salary of 7,600. She did score 6.32 points per minute against Malecki, only gave up 2.86. She left the octagon scoring 121 points almost in her win. Absolutely fantastic. The $8,900 salary does win 65% of the time. And Computer Monk really likes Nunes to win this fight. In fact, his absolute highest favorite on the entire card at just under 80% implied. Ramona, no stats. She is 7,300. That salary wins 27% of the time. Let's see, what fight is this? Number 6. The winner of the number 6 fight makes the optimal lineup 56.25%. Only 1 fight for Nunes, as we said, just under 121 points. So not too much to look at there as far as substantial stats. Nunes scoring 4.24 striking points per minute. Opponent only scoring 2.86. She also scored over 2 points per minute with her knockdown and did get just a few control time points there as well. First round finish there for that 90-point bonus. I mean, she landed 10.61 and got hit with 7.14, did Nunes, in that fight against Malecki. But Malecki pretty much was just throwing with her eyes closed, you know. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Controlled 100% of what very little grappling time there was. Check this out. Strength of schedule. I do track strength of schedule outside the UFC. It is one of the only stats I track outside the UFC. So Pascual 4-1 in her last 5, sub 50 strength of schedule, 42, less than 42% opponent win percentage, just awful. And Nunes' strength of schedule is pretty bad, you know, coming in under 67, 58 for her actual strength of schedule, but still, it's not 40. My goodness. And Bea Malecki, yeah. Nunes whooped her ass, 37.70 ass whoop index right there. The higher that number is, the better, the more you whooped your opponent's ass. Hence the name, ass whoop index. Graphs are meaningless because only 1 fight. Here are my projections. Whatever you think is going to happen, here's how I think it will score. This graph also pretty meaningless. I have no fights to compare it to, so we don't know what that actually looks like. And then the aggregate finish rates, very high as far as finishes go. I bet you Computer Monk picks Nunes inside the distance if I had to guess. Next fight, Ignacio Bahamondes coming off an electric last-second victory, spinning wheel kick, or whatever technical kick it was, against Roosevelt Roberts in the last second. My goodness. Going against Rong Zhu. Very impressive. I like this guy a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure Computer Monk is picking him to pull the upset. This is going to be a lightweight fight. Bahamondes coming in $650 over his average salary. Sorry, I can't talk. I must be more tired than I thought. Of $8,350. scores 3.57 DraftKings points per minute, gives up only 2.72 for a positive differential of 0.85, scored over 103 in his win, gave up only 84 in his loss, and he scored 48 in his one loss. Rong Zhu, $7,200. Love this salary. Both fighters made the optimal lineup, 1 out of 2 fights since January 2021. Let's see here. Zhu, $1,150 under his average salary. Fantastic average value of 11.03. 4.7 raw DraftKings points per minute. That is fantastic pace right there. Gives up only 2.54 for an over 2 points per minute differential. Scored 146 points in his one win. 146. Only gave up 78.5 in his loss. Fantastic. I'm loving Rong Zhu this week. Absolutely loving him. Bahamondes, yep, 103 points. As we said, when he did lose that 84-point decision, it was a split decision. Scoring 3.06 points per minute in just striking. Gives up 2.6 no takedown points. Wow. Excuse me, I just tried to choke myself. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Either I'm muting myself and making a video, or I'm literally choking on absolutely nothing. What did I just say? That my body took so much offense to. My goodness. Rong Zhu scoring 1.52 takedown points per minute. Fantastic. 0.74 control time points a minute. I mean, that is great. Guys, don't mind me. I'm slowly dying right in front of your eyes. I'm going to get so many views. Bahamondes scoring over 50 points per win just in striking in his one win. Rong Zhu scoring over 64 grappling points in his win. My goodness, my body is just, I feel like I just went on hot ones. I don't even know why. Some very high volume from Bahamondes and a ton coming back at him. Almost 6 strikes a minute landed against. And Rong Zhu's over here getting outstruck by 0.3 strikes per minute. 100% takedown defense for both of these guys, though. Rong Zhu is gonna have to take Bahamondes down. If he does not, he's gonna get pieced up. He is what is that? 6 inches shorter than Bahamondes, and with a 4-inch smaller reach advantage. Rong Zhu's going to have to get in there and make and take down Bahamondes for real. If he can do that, I think he scores very well. Bahamondes with a much better strength of schedule. Rong Zhu with the huge ass whip index, power index, both guys with a perfect chin dex. Zhu losing a unanimous decision to Kazula Vargas and smashing Brandon Jenkins with a 3rd round knockout, 33 ass whip index. Bahamondes losing his UFC debut as well to McDessie and beating Roosevelt Roberts, as I said, with a crazy spitting kick at the last second. I mean, the last second, pretty much. A couple of graphs from these guys. Both guys outworking their opponents and trending way up as their opponent does as well. But, I mean, especially Rong Zhu almost doubling up his opponent's pace right there. And then the projections, much higher for Zhu, as you would expect. I mean, this graph from Rong Zhu is fantastic. I mean, stretches almost all the way from west to east here, getting fantastic average value, great DraftKings points when he wins, good bonus, good finish rate. I mean, the only points that Bahamondes has is the strength of victory and then the distance striking points. Zhu is going to have to get inside on Bahamondes and take him down. And then here are my aggregate career finishing percentages. Oof, I cannot believe I survived that. My goodness, we did it together. Next fight, Gregory Rodrigues, RoboCop, going against Armin Petrosyan, one of 2 Armins on the card, spelled differently though, important to note. Both guys undefeated in the UFC. Rodrigues coming in at $8,500, $700 over his average salary. average value of 12.56. I mean, he does not have a ranking here because he has less than 3 fights. But if he did, it would probably be number 1 with that huge number right there. Scores over 4 points per minute, gives up only 1.85 for a huge differential. Does score under 100 when he wins, though. Only 97.98 points in his 2 wins on average. Let's see, the $8,500 salary does win 51% of the time, so it is very close. Petrosyan on the other side. Let's see, he is yellow right here because he is a Dana White Contender Series fighter that does not have any official UFC fights. So it says 1-0 record here, but since he's yellow, I know that, and now you know, that is a Dana White Contender Series fight. All these stats, therefore, are from that fight. So they didn't actually happen, but if they did, here's how he would have scored. Petrosyan would have put up 109 points in his first round victory, 4.46 per minute. He gave up 6.91 somehow. I'm going to have to look at the numbers on this fight. That is a ton of points flying around in his last fight. Let's see here. No salary, obviously, because he's never had it in DraftKings before. Rodrigues, one of his 2 wins, he scored over 100. Actually, scored over 110. The other one less than 90. Petrosyan, as we said, did score over 100 in his one win, his one hypothetical win. Rodrigues with over 1 point per minute just from takedowns. Here's what happened. Petrosyan, 3.37 points a minute given up on takedowns. 1.43 points given up a minute on control time. Oh my goodness. If Rodrigues can not get punched, not get damaged like the Iron Turtle did to him, and he was wobbled. That fight could have been easily gone the either way. Or gone the other way, I should say. Rodrigues is going to have to get it on Petrosyan and keep landing those takedowns, get him down, and try to submit him. No submission losses here from Petrosyan, but 4 wins out of 11 submissions by Rodrigues. And I guess he does have 5 KO wins as well, KO TKOs. So, a little club and sub, little ground and pound finish. Who knows? Computer Monk does like Rodrigues here, I'm pretty sure, who does have a 100% takedown defense. Meanwhile, Arman Petrosyan only 40% takedown defense in his one DWCS fight. I mean, that comes out to over 10 takedowns landed against per 15 minutes, if you would extend that out. Meanwhile, Rodrigues controlling 71% of his grappling time, and Petrosyan less than 0.5% controlled when it comes to his grappling time. Both fighters 4-1 in their last 5, and Petrosyan, another debutant with a very good strength of schedule. I mean, over 75 in 2 of these categories, and better than Rodrigues absolutely everywhere. So a better strength of schedule coming into the UFC than Rodrigues has, who fought Junyoung Park, who's no joke, and then Dusko Todorovic, who I do believe has like 6 losses, I think, if I remember right. So that is a few. Rodrigues, positive control time differential and huge takedowns landed per 15. I mean, that is the key to victory here, in my opinion. I mean, unless he's somehow magically improved his chin, Rodrigues needs to avoid getting knocked out, which has happened in 2 of 3 professional losses. Rodrigues well above his opponents when it comes to pace and trending up very high as well. Petrosyan getting completely dismantled per minute. I mean, that was absolutely insane. But again, only 1 fight here. And here are my projections. Obviously, much higher for Rodrigues, and a lot of that has to do with how many points Petrosyan gave up, even though he won that fight. Yeah, pretty crazy. So a huge graph from Petrosyan with his 1 fight, but then the average value, well, in Rodrigues' favor, the grappling points as well, and even the striking points from distance to an extent. But yeah, that finish percent for Petrosyan is 100. So, and then the aggregate professional and UFC career finishing percentages, pretty high as far as wins go, and even in losses professionally. So I bet you Computer Monk thinks this one is going to finish inside the distance. Who else we got? Next fight, the other Arman, Tsarukyan, going against Joel Alvarez. Super exciting. Excited for this one here. Lightweight fight. Let's see. Tsarukyan, $9,100. So you're paying up for him almost $640 more than his average. Sorry, $540. But he does score the third highest points per minute out of any ranked fighter on the card, 3.97, giving up only 1.44 per minute. That is a tremendous defensive pace or anti-pace, whatever you want to call it. Second best number on the card. Also has the second highest DraftKings points per minute differential at 2.5 points. Second highest value as well at just under 10. I mean, Tsarukyan scoring very well, over triple digits in on average over his 4 wins, 100.97, giving up only 73 when he loses. Fantastic. Has a decent ceiling of 118 points. Let's see. The $9,100 salary wins at a 76% rate, and Computer Monk does like Tsarukyan to win this fight. 56% implied. Alvarez, though, $7,100. You are getting a deal on Joel Alvarez after smashing Thiago Moises in his last fight. I mean, how often do we see that? He's coming in $620 less than his average salary. Doesn't score very well, 2.26 points per minute. Good for 9th highest out of all ranked fighters. Gives up 2.73 per minute, though, for a negative differential. Has the best average value on the card, however, out of all ranked fighters, 10.61. Does average just under 99 points per win at 98.59. When he did lose his one his one UFC loss, he only gave up 55.6 points. That is the best number on the entire card. Fantastic. Excuse me, I'm still having trouble with my throat. My goodness. Tsarukyan, 110 points when he won by knockout, 97 points when he won by decision. That's the best decision average on the entire card, almost 100 points. Fantastic. Let's see, 2 of 4 wins he scored over 90. I mean, 2 of 4 wins he put up over 110, actually. Never given up 90 in his one loss. Alvarez, all 4 of his wins over 90, and one of them he did score over 100. Again, did not give up 90 points in his loss. No takedown points for Alvarez. Very interesting. A few takedown points against, though. But again, I think he doesn't mind being on the ground. He wants you to take him down so he can put you in a guillotine or work his submission magic. I mean, 16 of 19 wins, he's finished by submission. Never been subbed. Tsarukyan also never been subbed. So Alvarez has been knocked out in one of his 2 losses. So take that with what you will. They both score about the same on the feet. In fact, Alvarez outstriking Tsarukyan as far as DraftKings points goes, 2.08 per minute to 2.06. But Alvarez eats a ton more than Tsarukyan does. I mean, Tsarukyan's got less than half. Gives up less than half the points than Alvarez does. Let's see here. And in fact, 91, almost 92% of Alvarez's points, DraftKings points, come from striking, if you take out the bonus points, obviously. Alvarez, 4 UFC fights, average bonus points, 85. Fantastic. Tsarukyan did not get finished in his loss, though, so only 30 points given up. Has a fantastic takedown defense of just under 79%. Alvarez, 0% takedown defense. But, I mean, who's trying to take Alvarez down? Dummies, that's who. Doesn't even control a lot of the grappling time, though, for Alvarez. Only 5%. That is concerning. I don't care how good you are on the ground. Meanwhile, Arman controlling 72% of all of his grappling time. Has a much better strength of schedule than Alvarez. I mean, not much better, but better in every category. No defeats in his last 5. Where Alvarez did lose to Damir Ismagulov, who I do believe only has 1 loss. So that is, not the worst loss in the world when it comes to strength of schedule. Alvarez, negative differentials everywhere except for striking and reversals, actually. Almost half a point, half a reversal per 15 minutes over his opponent. Any common opponents here? I don't believe so. Yeah, Tsarukyan's only loss in his career, or only loss in the UFC, rather, to Islam Makhachev. Everywhere else, he's pretty much dominating. I mean, absolutely. 10 takedowns landed against Frivola. A takedown in almost every fight except for this Giagos fight. Alvarez allowing takedowns in almost every fight, but as we said, he probably lets that happen. Tsarukyan, way over his opponent when it comes to pace and trending way up as they trend down, actually. So he is handling his business out there. Alvarez trending up, but his pace is below his opponent, who is trending down. So that is actually a good sign. Here are my projections. Very low, it looks like, unless there's a finish. And I know that's an obvious thing to say, but not always. Some guys score very well on decisions. The visual statistical recap. I like Joel Alvarez's graph much better. I mean, Tsarukyan, I don't know who I would, if I'm betting this fight, I wouldn't. Or if I was thinking about betting this fight, I wouldn't. This one is going to be a close one. Who knows what could happen? Tsarukyan probably wins. Probably a decision win. But I mean, who knows? Who knows? So a very good looking graph here from Alvarez. Yeah, I'm not going to be betting this one. I'll just enjoy this one. And then the career finish percentage rates, very high in wins, very low in losses. So actually, I'll have to see what Computer Monk says, but I bet you he picked goes the distance for this one. Third to last fight of the night. I don't know how she's in this position, but Priscilla Snatcher-Ira, trademark, going against Ji-Young Kim. Yeah, I don't know how you go from basically fish hooking someone's eyeballs twice on the first fight of the night to being the third or the co-main event. I don't understand how that's possible, but I digress. Anyways, both these women with a losing UFC record combined, they are 7-8. Cachoeira is, you have to pay up for Priscilla Cachoeira, guys. You have to pay up for a 2-4 fighter. In fact, you're paying up for both fighters here. She's coming in $500 more than her average salary. Priscilla only scores 2 points per minute, gets outscored by 3.5 points. Gives up 5.57 per minute, has a terrible value of sub 7. Cachoeira, 107 points in her 2 wins on average. That is the number one highest on the entire card. That's the one place that she has a good stat on this entire sheet, is when she wins, she finishes generally, or generally scores well, I should say. When she loses, though, look at this. 4 losses. She gives up 117.5. She's getting her ass beat out there. Ji-Young Kim, I mean, you're paying up almost, $900 for her. 2.49 points per minute, gets outscored as well, but nowhere near the 3.5 points that Cachoeira gets outscored by. Kim, when she wins in three of her fights, or 3 of her wins, under 80 points on average. Gives up less than 80 points, though, when she loses. Has a pretty bad value as well, but still better than Snatch Your Ira's. Where are we? The 7,600 salary does not have a good winning percentage, 27% of the time, and the 8,600, 73.9% of the time. Both these women scoring very well when they finish by knockout TKO. 113 for Kim, 107 for Snatch Your Eyeball. I mean, when she got subbed, Priscilla, 138 points given up. She's given up over 90 in all 4 of her losses, over 103 and over 110 in 2 of them. Meanwhile, Kim has put up over 110 in just 1 of her 3 wins. Cachoeira giving up 3.58 points per minute just in striking. Another 1.5 between takedowns and control time. She's getting scored on from absolutely everywhere. Meanwhile, Kim is only scoring points in striking, 2.23 per minute, and barely any control time points. I mean, she does have a knockdown, but she is not scoring any takedown points, none of that. Nothing as far as grappling goes, which is concerning. Let's see, yes, Priscilla, 92.5 bonus points on average. Meanwhile, she's given up 55 when she loses. And Kim does have a finish for that 43 average as far as bonus points. Striking defense for Cachoeira is garbage, 40%, 56 for Kim, and that's 8th best. That's 8th highest out of ranked fighters. So 40% is the worst number on the card. Gets hit with almost 7 strikes per minute. Significant strikes per minute does Cachoeira. Has the worst striking differential on the, I mean, these numbers are terrible. Controls only 6.5% of the grappling time. Her strength of schedule is garbage. Both women 2 and 3 in their last 5. I mean, I'm having a hard time finding anything redeemable about Priscilla here. And really, either one of these. I don't know how this is the co-main event, to be honest. I mean, I love to see women's fights up there, you know, first, second, third to last fight of the night. But this one is not good quality. I mean, both these women have losing records, and one of them tried to cheat twice. The worst I've ever seen in her last fight. So, Priscilla getting completely outworked while her opponents trend up, and she trends down, even at a very, very low 2 points per minute rate. Meanwhile, Kim, her opponent's outpacing her as well and trending up, but at least she is also trending up. Much higher projections for Ji-Young Kim, as you could probably have guessed. And then the DraftKings visual statistical recap. I mean, finish rates, it's got to be Cachoeira, but consistency is going to be Kim. But she just does not score well. That's why she doesn't have any of this real estate right here. And then the career finishing percentages. Yeah, this one's probably not finishing. Both above 50% aggregate in their career and when it comes to the UFC, but the finish is 25% across the board. Co-main event of the evening. Misha Cirkunov going against Wellington Turman, who's only 25 years old. I find that hard to believe, but I'll take your word for it. Middleweight fight. Cirkunov, $8,300. That is just under his average salary. He has the highest pace on the entire card, scoring 4.42 points per minute. Number 1. Gives up only 2.52 for an almost 2 differential of raw DraftKings points. 5th highest average value on the entire card. Scores the 2nd highest to Priscilla Cachoeira. DraftKings points per win at 107.46. And when he loses in 5 losses, he averages 103 points given up. Almost 104. Lots of points flying around Misha Cirkunov fights is what I'm trying to tell you. Wellington Turman, $7,900. So both of these guys coming in right about their average salary. You are technically paying up for Turman, but it's nothing crazy, $100. He scores significantly less than Cirkunov does, 2.77 points per minute, and in fact is getting outpaced by 5/100ths of a DraftKings point per minute. Average value of only 5.37, not good. He does have a losing record in the UFC, 2 and 3. And only scores 73 points when he wins, guys. That is over 2 wins and over 3 losses. He's averaging 99.76 points given up. So he does not score well, and he gives up a ton of points. Only a 5.37 average value. Let's see, the $7,900 salary only wins at a 48.89% of the time. So pretty much, you know, I would say 50-50, but it is just a little less than that. Cirkunov scoring the highest number on the card when he wins by TKO, 127 points. Scores over 103 when he wins by sub, and gives up only 55 when he loses by split decision, which was 1 time. He has been knocked out, I believe, 4 other times in the UFC. Maybe, I don't know if they're all in the UFC, but when he gets knocked out, 115.5 points is what he's given up. I mean, look at this. 5 out of 6 wins, he's put up over 100 points, has Misha Cirkunov. And in 4 out of 6 wins, he's scored over 110. And when he loses, my goodness, let's see, 4 out of 5 losses, his opponents have scored over 80. And 2 out of 5, they've scored over 110. So, again, tons of points flying around Misha Cirkunov fights. But Wellington Turman is not a guy that's going to score well. Never scored over 90 in a win. And he's given up over 102 of his 3 losses and over 110 in 1 of those losses. Very good takedown points per minute and control time points per minute. Hardly anything at all from striking. But Cirkunov also with a huge amount of takedown points per minute and control time points. Wellington Turman, I believe, we will get there, has a 100% takedown defense, I'm pretty sure. I mean, look at these Cirkunov fights. Finishes everywhere. He's literally, I think 1 of his 11 UFC fights has gone the distance, and that was the last fight where it was a split decision loss. I mean, 88 points of bonus points when he loses, almost 80 points of bonus points when he wins. Oof. Yeah, Turman, 100% takedown defense. A terrible striking defense, though, 43%. Cirkunov, almost 60%. And a decent takedown defense himself at 70%. Cirkunov controlling more of the grappling time, but not very much more. 70% to 62%. Both guys 2 and 3 in their last 5, but Cirkunov has the much better strength of schedule. In some categories, it's only a few points, but others, it is closer to 5. 18% control time differential, 3.9 takedown per 15 differential, a huge reversal differential. This is going to be a big number, I think, in this one. 0.65 reversals per 15-minute differential for Cirkunov. Wellington Turman almost -1, so he is prone to getting reversed, and Cirkunov is the guy that can reverse you. He's also going to be the much bigger fighter. I did not mention 6'3" to 6 foot for Turman, and then 77-inch reach for Misha, 72-inch reach for Turman. So he's going to have to try to get inside. But I mean, Misha's got a 70% takedown defense as well, so I don't know. This one's going to be tough. It's going to be the battle of who can land the takedown. And the takedowns, in my opinion. I mean, 5 against Cirkunov, and he lost, or against Jotko, and he lost that fight by split decision. I don't see that. I would have to rewatch that, but that sounds crazy to me. Yeah. Raw DraftKings points per minute. Cirkunov way above his opponents, but trending down, while his opponents also trend down, but at a lower rate. Turman just below his opponents as far as scoring, so they are outscoring him. He is trending down, while his opponents are pretty even keel. And then fight projections, here they are. Let's see here. Very low for Turman. Pretty decent for Cirkunov, actually. And Cirkunov with a fantastic graph here at the visual statistical recap. No finish wins for Turman. And we are pushed all the way out to the side of this graph here from Cirkunov. That is just what you want to see. Fantastic average value. Decent grappling points. In fact, Turman has the grappling and the striking there, but that is it. And then the aggregate career finishing percentages. Very high inside and outside of the UFC. Wins and losses, honestly. Computer Monk will definitely have this calculated to go inside the distance. Probably likes Cirkunov, and I don't mind that at all. I mean, like I said, 1 of 11 of Cirkunov's fights have gone the distance in the UFC, and it was his last fight. So he went ahead and got that one out of the way. So I would expect another finish here. Either side. And we did it. The main event of the evening, guys. Islam Makhachev taking on the short notice Bobby Green. Beneil Dariush, I believe, broke his fibia, is what I heard. Awful injury. Probably out at least, 6-8 months. Who knows? That sounds terrible. But Bobby Green stepping up on short notice to save this fight. Bobby Green, absolute legend. Do I think he's going to win? Probably not. Still, I have so much respect for the guy. I'm looking forward to this one. This is actually at catchweight, so it's going to be, I believe, 165. So both guys get to cut a little bit less. $9,500 for Makhachev, who did make the optimal lineup once since 2021. Bobby Green making the optimal lineup all 3 of his fights since January of 2021. Absolutely fantastic. As I said, Makhachev, you are paying up for him. I know that sounds crazy, but he's about $133 more than his average salary. What do you get for that? You get 3.99 DraftKings points per minute, the second highest pace on the entire card, and you get the best defense too, only allowing 1.15 points a minute. That is the absolute best number on the card out of all ranked fighters. Huge differential of just under 3 points per minute. Third highest average value of 9.6. I mean, come on, just under 100 points per win. In his one loss, he did give up 101 points, but still only 1 loss. The $9,500 salary is fantastic for DraftKings, but it should be. It's like one of the highest salaries that they dish out. Has an 83% winning percentage, and I think it makes the optimal lineup in like 60 or 70%, maybe even 80% of those wins. Bobby Green. $6,700. You're getting an absolute deal on Bobby Green this week, coming in almost $1,400 under his average salary. You get 3.51 DraftKings points per minute, the fourth best pace on the entire card. Only gives up 2.34. That's the fifth best number on the card defensively for a huge differential of 1.17. Now it's nowhere, close to 2.84 like for Makhachev, but it is the fourth highest out of all ranked fighters. Fourth highest value as well at 8.65. I mean, so you're getting comparable numbers, off by a point or two to Makhachev. Obviously, over 15 minutes or 25 minutes in this case, that point or two per minute is going to add up. But still, these are very respectable numbers from Bobby Green. Scores 93.8 points when he wins. So that is a very good number, especially for cash, as I said just 2 weeks ago. I don't know about this week, but I'm just saying, that's a decent number. Gives up only 68.3 when he loses. So I don't know what to expect here. We do have 5 rounds to get it done. So I think if Makhachev wins even by decision, he could still score pretty well. I will have a good chunk of Makhachev this week. I can tell you that much. And I'll probably have some of Bobby Green too, because how couldn't you? When Makhachev wins by knockout TKO, 126 points. When he wins by sub, he scores 105. And even in his decision wins, 85.26. That is a great number. Third highest on the card. Bobby Green, when he wins by knockout, 109. When he wins by sub, only 92. But when he wins by decision, 94.9 points. Guys, if this one goes to decision, I expect the winner to score very well. They have the second and third highest decision rates on the card, or decision points per decision win, there we go, on the entire card, and this one is 5 rounds. Makhachev, I believe, has only had 1 5-round fight in the UFC, and Bobby Green, never. So these numbers can only go up, in my opinion. Let's see, 7 of 10 wins for Makhachev. He has scored over 100 points. 2 of those 10, he put up over 110. Bobby Green, same deal. 7 of his 10 victories, he's put over 90, 4 of 10 over 100, and 2 of 10 over 110. Not prone to giving up a ton of points, especially when it comes to striking. He does give up takedown points, though, 0.41 per minute, and that is the 10th, what's that? 5th worst number on the card in terms of ranked fighters. Meanwhile, Makhachev scoring 1.12 points per minute. That is the 3rd best number on the card. That is where he can exploit Bobby Green, I think. If he can get inside on Bobby Green, which he's going to do, he's going to go for tons of takedowns. That is absolutely how he's going to get it done here. Scores almost 30 grappling points when he wins, 57 points worth of bonus points. Bobby Green, not prone to getting finished, only averaging 38 bonus points given up per loss. Makhachev, number 1 in every category, just on rough stats. That is ridiculous. Bobby Green, number 3 overall, so maybe equally ridiculous, but at least, they're closer than people think. Makhachev takedown defense, 88%. Bobby Green, 70%. Striking defense for Green is phenomenal, 62%, but you look over here, Makhachev, over 70% striking defense. Clearly number 1 on the card. Gets hit with less than 0.8 strikes per minute, also number 1 on the card. My goodness. Bobby Green, meanwhile, getting hit with 3.74 per minute. Makhachev controlling 84% of the grappling time. Bobby Green only 61. Here's where Bobby Green, 3-2 in his last 5, but his strength of schedule is better than Makhachev. And I only do strength of schedule for the last 5 fights, but in those last 5, it goes to Bobby Green. Makhachev, control time differential over his last 5, almost 40%. How ridiculous is that? With smashing wins over Hooker, Moises, Dober, Hamosh, and Tsarukyan. My goodness. The Tsarukyan fight was his closest one, and it wasn't really that close. Bobby Green with 2 in a row over Haqparast and Iaquinta. Losses to Fiziev and Moises. And a win over Alan Patrick. Makhachev, look at this graph. It is well above his opponents. They're not even touching. He is trending up. Opponents also trending up. But come on, we're more than triple here. Triple, yeah, triples are the way to go. I got triples in the Nova. We are triple of his opponents. Bobby Green, well over his opponents as well, trending up while his opponents also trend up. I mean, these are two great graphs. Bobby Green's last 5 graph not touching his opponent's graph either. This is going to be one hell of a fight for as long as it lasts. I mean, oof. And we do have all 5 rounds of projections here. So whatever you think is going to happen, here's how I think it will score. And then the DraftKings visual recap. I mean, huge graph for Makhachev. Green's graph is very decent as well. Just could use a few more finish wins to get this part out. But Makhachev really dominating this side of the entire graph, which is what you really want to see. The strength of victory, average value per win, distance striking points, all go to Green. And then the aggregate career finishing percentages, pretty low as far as wins and losses. I bet you Computer Monk thinks this finishes, or thinks this goes the distance rather. And that's going to do it, guys. Let's check out, before we go, the picks for UFC Vegas 49 from Computer Monk. Picking Victor Altamirano by decision, Brahimaj by finish, Martinez by decision, Frey decision, McKinney by finish, Nunes by finish, Rong Zhu by finish, Rodrigues by finish, Arman Tsarukyan decision, Jeong Kim by decision, Misha Cirkunov finish, and in the main event, Islam Makhachev beating Bobby Green by decision. That is how Computer Monk sees this one. Whew, an hour and 6 minutes, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. We did it. We have broken down all 12 fights coming up on UFC Vegas 49 from a DraftKings perspective. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Please be sure, again, visit teamriseorfall.com. Use code MONK, save yourself $10, and start winning, getting more and more takedowns, guys. I'm serious. Any kind of DraftKings. We got guys doing truck series. I mean, for real, we got NASCAR guys, we got guys doing truck series, tennis guys, NBA guys, baseball guys, if that comes back. Every sport you can play DFS for, we have experts helping to get you those takedowns. TeamRiserFall.com, check it out. Also, on Wednesdays, join me on Pub Sports Radio with Brady, Uncle Weezy, and Luke SWR Betting as we give our best picks, our best fades, our best dogs, our best dart throws, and our best lineups for UFC Vegas 49. Check us out on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And lastly, check out Monk and Lou's Happy Hour Friday at 5 p.m. We get you all the stats you need for your betting. Lou handles the betting side. He's given out some crazy props, good props that are hitting. He hit a plus 3,500 on our show 2 weeks ago. I'm giving out DraftKings plays. It is all you need going into fight day Saturday. So be sure to check that out on Fridays. And guys, thanks a ton again. Hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter at Monkmatics. Subscribe. Help me get my numbers up there. I'm growing more and more by the day, and it's all because of you. So thanks again. And hey, as always, I want you to enjoy the fights. So enjoy. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.